Episode 3, How to Create a Custom Studio Template. For those of you who use Studio to write custom code on a regular basis, this will be of use to you. Chances are the shell or setup of your code is more or less the same, and it's only the insides that you're really customizing each time. Creating the form. Okay, the first thing we need to do is create a form which takes some input from the user. We do this by creating a new cache server page. This page generates some HTML that we're going to add some stuff to. The first thing we do is add the CSP Studio Interactive Template tag. This directs Studio how to handle this page, basically that we want it to be interactive and we want it to show up in the new document window. Name is the name we'll see in the new document window. For this example, we are creating a custom DTL, so I'll name this Custom DTL. Type equals CLS tells it this will be a class, and mode equals new tells it to show up in the new document window. The next thing we need to do is add the form pieces to gather the user's input. First, let's remove the title tags since we won't be needing those. Then let's go ahead and open a new Studio session. We're going to change to the %sys namespace. There's an existing template that we're going to copy from. Browse to the ISC/studio/templates and go ahead and open webservicewizard.csp. Okay, from here I am copying the style tags and everything in between them. I want to paste this inside the head tags of my custom template. What this does is it saves us from dealing with any formatting at this point and allows us to generate a decent looking page. Next, I'm going to copy the body tags from the Web Service Wizard template and everything in between, and I'm going to paste this over the body tags in my custom template. Again, this saves us a lot of coding at this point, and it provides a start to the functionality that we need to generate our form. Okay, from here we can't exactly use this code the way it is, so we need to make some edits, such as removing much of the JavaScript and changing some of the names and values. I'll start by modifying the header tag with a more appropriate name. Notice also along the way I'm removing all of the pound and $$ text code. I'm changing the form name to my form and removing the onSubmit parameter of my form. I'll come back a little later and change the action once I save and compile this form with a name. Since we don't have a ton of time here, some of these edits will kind of flash before you, but you will see the before and after product and you will have access to this code. Here I'm removing the $$ text and other code around package name and class name. For our purposes, all we need is a simple text of package name and class name. In the spirit of simplicity, I'm removing the next 3 rows from my custom template. Next, I'm modifying the size and the values of my input tags. I'm setting the size to 60 for both inputs and the values to hospital for the package name and my DTL name for the class name. If we go down further in the page, for the input type of hidden, change the value to read only cache, stripping everything except the word cache and the double quotes around it. I'm removing the input tag with a value of help since we won't be using it, and then I'm removing the text ID from the input tag with a type of submit. Now I'm going to compile this, but in order to compile it I have to save it first. So I'm going to save it in my custom templates folder and give it a name of newdtl.csp. Before I move on, I want to update the action on my form to be newdtlfinal.csp, and I'll compile this again. Walking the code. The first thing we do is create a new CSP page. This is going to be the page that generates our code based on the user's input and other information we provide it. So I'm going back into the %sys namespace. I want to copy some code from the Web Service Wizard final.csp file. I'm copying all the code from this file and I will paste it over everything in my custom document and edit it from there. The first thing we need to do here is remove the CSP class tag. Next, we're going to remove this code from extending the soap.web service and change it to extends ens.dataTransform, open square bracket, procedure block, close square bracket. From there, we're going to remove a chunk of this code. We're removing everything from the first write $$ text up to, but not including, the last write command. And this will leave us with the first set command, which grabs our variables from the new DTL page we created, a couple more set commands that we don't have to touch, and 4 write commands, which will generate the beginning of our custom DTL. So I will save this page as new DTL final.csp to correspond with the previous page that we created. Showing it off. If you click New and go to the Custom tab, there you will see the custom DTL. Our form will pop up. You'll see our predefined fields. So let's go ahead and change the class name and then we'll click OK. This generates the beginning of our custom DTL. At the top, we have our input values as the name of our DTL, hospital.testDTL, and it extends ens.dataTransform just as we told it to. As you can see, there isn't much code here that is actually custom, so let's add some more code to demonstrate how this can be customized. Here I'm adding some comments as a placeholder for author information. If you have a team where more than one person is writing code, this information can be valuable if you're trying to troubleshoot or want some reference information. If we skip up to the generated code, you will notice that our comments show up and they are nicely formatted with tab space that we wrote as part of our write command. We can take our code a step further and add a class method transform. This can be used as our main method, and since it doesn't change much from code to code, it makes sense to have this as part of the template. If we need to, we can also add comments to this code that won't show up in our generated code. This is helpful, for example, if you have multiple lines of closing brackets inside of write commands, then you can use something like closeout class method transform. Now we see our method in the output, which looks cool, but it's empty, so it's not really doing anything yet. So let's replace the your code here with some template generated code. Let's overwrite the add code here with a try-catch method. As you can see, using the write command allows us to generate the code we need. Inside of our try method, we're going to add the $char34, which actually, by appending it to our code inside the write command, allows us to generate double quotes in our output. We'll close out the try, and now we'll add the catch method. As you can see here, inside of our method transform, first is our try method, followed by the catch method, and everything looks good so far. Now let's add one more class method that we will call in our method transform. If you find yourself always using similar methods in your code, this is a way to save you from copying and pasting or rewriting every time. It allows you to provide a shell for this method, and then you can make the customizations within this method. The last thing we need to do here is to add the call to the transform MSH in the class method transform. We add this right before we close out the try method. And now if we look at the end result of our generated code, our final method is added to the code and the call is made in the transform to call this new method. Thank you, that ends our episode.